Now I'm excited to bring up Dale. Where's Dale? Dale, yeah. Come on up and tell us what your product's all about.
Okay. Well, we're not really offering a product. My name's Dale Kempster. I am the chairperson of our specifications and research for the Tile, Terrazzo, Marble Association of Canada. So we're actually here to talk about a service that we offer for testing for the surfaces of hard surfaces. That's what we represent. The Tile, Terrazzo, Marble Association of Canada is an association of suppliers and contractors right across Canada. And we do both commercial and residential applications. So one of the things that we are now offering, we've been offering it for quite a while in a lab, doing testing of hard surfaces for tile. We now are offering it for doing it outside, doing it in the field, which is a big part of what you really need to do to determine whether a surface is able to be walked on without having issues, especially when wet, and that's usually the biggest problem, when wet, where someone can slip and fall. So I don't want to bore you with numbers and what have you, but there is standards for this. There is ANSI, A137.1 and also A326.3, which basically dictates how to test hard surfaces to determine whether you have a potential for slip and fall. And the reality is that it's changed. It's morphed over the last little while, and it's been quite controversial. There's been a lot of infighting going on because there's all types of different ways to try and measure slip and fall and slip resistance. And the new one that is now being used right across North America is called the BOT 3000. That little picture you see of the tester. We also have the physical tester over on the table there if you want to take a look at it after my presentation. But here's some things that you may not be aware of. And I'm not going to go through this. We have pamphlets that everybody can grab after I've done the presentation. But the reality is, and this is the one that really got my attention, about 5 years ago, I was at an ANSI meeting down in the United States, and there was a gentleman there who was a consultant. And he had this nice, incredible presentation about slip and falls. And the number one thing that stuck in my mind was there is more deaths caused by slip and fall in the United States, and I'm sure it's the same in Canada, than car accidents. And put that in perspective. I mean, that's huge. So think about it. But I thought about it when you said it. I'm going, there's no way. He's got to be crazy. And then when I started thinking about it, I go, wait a second. What happens elderly when they slip and fall? They break a hip. It may not be instant. But in many cases, the elderly, when they fall and have a major injury like that, it actually creates a death down the road. Think about when you fall, if you hit the back of your head, same thing. It can be very, very critical, and lots of deaths are created by that. So the reality is that slip and fall is something that we have to be very careful with. This same stat was also used in Germany, and Germany adopted all types of testing requirements. One's called the German ramp test to determine whether the surface has a tendency for having an issue for slip and fall. So since they've done that, which is about 10 years ago, they have now lowered it to a level now where it's very minimal, the amount of slip and falls that are occurring in public areas. So who should be getting this test done? Well, think about every area where you have the public, and think about the insurance claims. When I was going to university many, many moons ago, I worked at a mall with the engineers, and one of my duties was whenever there was a spill on the floor, we had hidden away in hallways and what have you, buckets and mops to go and clean up these spills. As soon as we would hear, we all had walkie-talkies and we'd run, because there was literally people that would look for these puddles or even create them themselves, slip and fall. And we used to have a budget, and this is going back many, many moons ago, but we used to have a budget of like $250,000 to just pay these people off so they wouldn't sue us. So, I mean, it is something that you have to be careful with. And so we indicate in our pamphlet, all owners of property, lawyers, specifiers, property owners, insurance companies, These are all people that should be thinking about getting this service done. All malls, airports, if you think about all the box retailers out there, they all have tile basically, or a hard surface, maybe vinyl, being used on the floors. And where the entranceways are and everybody walking in with wet feet, that is where you're going to have your issue. And the problem is that as these products are being used over time, they do wear. And as that wear continues to go on, you're going to have a situation where the slip and fall is going to go higher and higher as a risk. So what we do is this machine that we have, our tester, will basically give you numbers of what the rating is for your floor. So currently, right now, they've just modified the newest ANSI A326.3. And before it was strictly 0.42, which doesn't mean much to any of you, I'm sure, but 0.42 was the base. You had to have 0.42 or greater to be used in a public area that was going to be exposed to moisture. But now they've broke it down into even better designations for ramps, for areas where there's oils and greases, and they've increased the number requirement there, which was a controversy for a while when this first came out. So now we do have these extra categories that we can then rate that floor and determine whether it's adequate for the environment that you're actually going to be exposing traffic to. So here's the actual tester. It's very simple. All we do is we wet the surface and we go in 4 directions and take 4 separate measurements each time we do the different direction, and then that gives us an average. And so we have a little ticker tape that you'll see that pulls out, and that we keep on files in case there ever is a court case brought up. We have all this filed away and available, and that gives you an average out of 4 what your rating is. So it really is very simple to run. And we do it in 4 different locations. Typically do it in high traffic areas, and then we'll do one where it's not high traffic just to see what the difference is. So you can see whether maybe the tile right from the very beginning didn't meet the rating. And that's obviously a big concern. So this is a way that we're able to keep this filed for you and have it available for any type of legalities if it hopefully doesn't happen. So we offer this, like I say now, in our lab, and we also do in the field testing. We have inspectors right across the country, so we can pretty well offer this right across Canada. Most of it right now has been local, mostly in Toronto. The fee for it is $1,000 plus traveling time if needed. And we do tile testing in the lab, and there's a whole range of pricing depending on how many tile you're testing. So it starts at like $250, and then it goes up from there. So I think that's about all I have for I think that's 5 minutes.
Yeah. Now we'll get into the questions and
Sure.
answers, and the idea that you could spend $1,000 to see if your floor is slippery and prevent a whole bunch of lawsuits sounds like a bargain.
Well, that's the fact of the matter is, all you need is to have one lawsuit,
Yeah.
and you can be into hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, like I say, and what we're going to be recommending that, especially in high traffic situations, that you probably want to get it tested at least once a year, just to make sure that it's not wearing out. Because even porcelain, a lot of you think, if you know tile at all, porcelain is one of the most durable and most hardest tiles that's out there. But in reality, it does wear out. It does eventually start to break down. The surface becomes smoother and smoother, and the more smoother it is, the more of a chance that you're going to have a slip and fall.
That's great. Oh, it sounds like a great solution. And I'm hoping the designers are looking at these sorts of tests when they specify items for buildings. I'm sure they do. Great. Well, it's great at these things. You learn all sorts of things about different topics. And thank you for
we have the machine there. If you want to see it, we'll be here right to the end. And we also have the pamphlets if you're interested. And we are at our booth that is 807. And we do our actual headquarters for TTMAC is based in Vaughan, not too far from here, and we also have an office in Vancouver. So
excellent. Well, thank you for presenting. That's great.
Okay, thank you.